Hi, everyone out there in the Facebook world. This is Amanda, and I have with me Mr. Ed Knight. And many of you may not have had the pleasure to work with Ed face-to-face yet or even talk to him on the phone, but Ed is our, I say new MLS person, but really he's been with us for almost a year now. But with COVID, it kind of feels like he's been with us for 5 years, but still new to me. So, Ed, say hello to everybody.
Hello. Has it been that bad that it seems like I've been here forever?
I think that you've probably heard that before, Ed. Don't be teasing us like that. Alrighty, so we have a pretty big MLS announcement to give to you guys all today. And Ed works with our MLS committee and does their bidding. So, Ed, what's the big MLS news that our members can expect to see over the next few weeks?
So on October 14th, we will be changing display names for all items in the MLS that start with the term master and are changing that over to primary. This is not something that is a mandatory change. However, we feel that it in the current times that we're living in the current climate, in order to be more inclusive and equitable, we've gone ahead and made that change. It was suggested a couple of times early on this summer, but changes like this are not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of moving parts. We have a lot of data feeds that we have to make sure that this doesn't affect, and we have to make sure that we're also staying RISO compliant and things like that. So we've made all those checks. The board of directors voted to go ahead and make the change, and we have now engaged our Flex data team to make those changes, and those are coming on October 14th.
So that date is when they should expect to see in the MLS primary bedroom instead of master bedroom.
That is correct.
And that is RISO's the Real Estate Standards Organization, is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Great, and that's going to help our data, trying to think of the technical word, essentially work with data from other associations.
Exactly. So what RISO does is it makes a more a standardization of data across different MLSs. So like what we would call, you could call a den here in Greater Lansing. In RealComp, they can call that, room 2. And unless you have some sort of standardization, they won't talk to one another. So where that really runs into a lot of problems is in data feeds coming from or going to RealComp or Michigan RealSource, or even out to websites. That's what RISO standardization does, is help to, have a library of standard terms that are used for these items, so everybody kind of plays well together.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And, we're joining associations from all over the country in making this word change. So it's exciting, and it's a very socially conscious decision that the members of this association has made. So expect to see that coming soon in the next couple of weeks. And yes, I did set myself up for that segue, because now we're going to bounce into the world of coming soon, which has been live for quite a few months on the MLS. I'm sure that you all have seen it. Ed's going to give us a little bit more information about coming soon and what sort of things that we can do with that. And I'll fire off some frequently asked questions to Ed. And please share this with everyone in your office, because someone might have the question, but they don't want to ask it, or it just could be informative for when they have a coming soon listing in the future. And from what I understand, one of the biggest confusions with coming soon revolves around advertising. So if a listing is in the MLS as coming soon, is it allowed to have a sign in the yard, Ed?
Yeah, so once a listing, you can treat that listing as far as advertising goes, like you would a normal listing. You can put a sign in the yard. However, the sign does have to have a coming soon rider on top. You can, email that out to prospective clients. You can do Facebook post on it, things like that. The tricky part about it is our coming soon listings don't syndicate out through IDX, which is the technology that's used to go to agent websites, to Zillow, to Realtor.com. So by hitting the share button, you can share the property, but the link to it won't necessarily work because it uses those IDX rules. If you can email that, however, and then you can get a link to the Flex listing. So you won't see those on your agent websites. You won't see those out on the nationally syndicated websites, but you will see it on the MLS. If you create your subscriptions to your agent or to your buyers, including the coming soon in that, anytime one that comes up, just like an active listing comes up that meets their criteria, that'll automatically be sent out in that um, to them.
So if that makes a great point. So if I have a client who sees that coming soon, and it's my listing, and they're like, "Oh, I see that that's coming soon. I'm really interested. I'd like to take a look." Can they do a quick showing prior to the active date if it's in coming soon?
No, prior to the active date, you cannot have any showings whatsoever, no open houses, nothing like that. The coming soon is a way for our agents to generate um, interest and buzz on a property before it comes active. So you can absolutely schedule those for after the date. So if you have a property that's coming due or going live on November 1st, you can start scheduling those showings for November 1st now, but you cannot have any showings for that property until that date.
Even if I bring you a Starbucks card?
That's a tempting offer, but no.
So if I'm an agent and I have a listing, my clients maybe want to paint the living room before it goes live, and I want to stick it in coming soon, what's the process that I need to do?
Sure, you're gonna approach it. In my understanding of it, you'll approach it just like you will any other listing. You go in, you have the listing contract signed. You sit down with your seller, go through the contract. The addition to that is that you have a coming soon addendum, which can be found in our transaction desk. And they fill that out, have that signed by the seller, signed by yourself, and signed by your broker. And that has to be uploaded within 1 business day of that listing going in the MLS, just like your listing contract. Those have to be uploaded with those signatures.
Alrighty, and there's a list date and a start showings date, so to speak, right?
Correct.
And what's the difference between those two dates?
So the listing date is the date that you're gonna put it in the MLS, right? So if you go today and you have a listing signed today, that it's going to be coming soon until November 1st. Well, we can't do that because we're over the 15 days, right? But let's say today you go and have a contract signed, and your seller wants to go ahead and put this in the MLS today. They're going to put a listing date or a contract date on that listing agreement for today, October 6th. And then in the coming soon addendum, you're going to state the date that they want it to go live. If they want to use the full 15 days, then that's going to take you up to October 20th, right? So, or it'd be, I guess, the 21st. Math, you know.
Not my forte, so don't worry.
But so that's when your start showing date will be. Now, with that, we added some help text to the MLS section there when you're inputting that stuff, and it kind of gives a description on each one of these boxes and what they're for. But the start showing date is the date that that's going to go active. So Flex does some back end stuff. I think it's around between midnight and 2 a.m. Once that triggers and it shows that it is the start showing date of today, that will then immediately go active. Now, the nice thing about the subscription is if you have a client that has that home meets their criteria, that will generate them an email, of this now active listing.
Awesome. Yeah, if you don't know how to set up subscriptions, give Ed a shout, because those are a huge part of working in the MLS. You said something that I actually totally forgot about, and it's the 15 days. So if you list a home in coming soon, it has to be active or go active within 15 days. I can't list a home right now that I want to make active on December 26th.
No.
Okay.
No, it's
Perfect.
limited to 15 days. It actually will not let you put in a date over that. And if you try to, it'll throw an error and it says must be within 15 days of the listing date.
Gotcha. So that's not a glitch in the system. That's an MLS rule, and everyone has to abide by that. Will having a coming soon listing inflate the days on market by 15 days?
No. Days on market do not start calculating until that goes active. So just like a withdrawn status, once it's incoming soon, it doesn't accumulate days on market.
Wonderful. Do you have anything that you want to add in addition to everything we've talked about, Ed?
No, the only thing that I really want to add, or that I'd like to add, is to make sure that you guys are getting the signatures on the contracts. We need seller signature, we need agent signature, and we need broker signature. And then you can, just like any of the other listings, once you start advertising that, even if you put a blurb out there on Facebook, that has to be in the MLS within 1 business day. And then the contracts with all the signatures have to be uploaded to that listing within 1 business day of that going in the MLS. Other than that, I really hope that coming soon is working for our members. It is definitely something that I'm pretty proud of. I've been working on that since I came to the board, and I'm here to help if you guys need anything.
Yeah, like Ed said, he doesn't bite. He's a pretty cool guy, and he'll help you out with anything you need over the phone. So the quick and dirty of our little MLS chat here today. There's going to be no more master bedroom verbiage. It's going to be switching to primary verbiage, or primary bedroom verbiage. So I guess we're trying to talk too fast. On October 14th. If we're going to be doing coming soon, forms need to be signed by agent, broker, and seller. You stick a sign in the yard, that's okay. Just make sure it has a coming soon rider. You can post about it on Facebook, but you cannot show it. These listings will not be syndicated to Realtor.com, Zillow, your agent website. If you want to share it, email it. Don't click the share button. Ed, does that sum it up?
Sounds good to me.
Alrighty, I'll stop screaming at my computer now. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.